This is the 2020 Hyundai Veloster Turbo Premium. 3 models, there's a base model 2 litre and 2 turbo models. This one the Premium and the normal turbo. This one has everything thrown at it. These lights are LED with LED running lights, and down below, this is part of the aerodynamic system that keeps the car stable at high speed. There's some other changes they've made with this model as well. The bonnet is actually a little bit longer than the old one, thanks to the A-pillar being moved back just a sensation. Not only that, it's 30 millimeters approximately thinner at the bottom to give you better vision, but still allow for the airbags. The 18-inch wheels have Michelin Pilot 4s on the top 2 models and Pilot 3s on the base model. There's 7 colours all up. This one's the yellow one with the $1,000 optional black roof. Also, it gets this full-length sunroof. And this opens up and over the top of the car so it doesn't take too much headroom, especially in the back where space is already compromised. This car's basically the same dimensions as the previous generation. What the top model gets is LED headlights and these LED taillights. There's also a 303 litre boot that's accessed with the button that's just under this handle. Inside there's plenty of space, and this top model also gets the additional luggage cover. As well, the seats fold down 60-40, so you can get a little bit of extra space if you need it. And one of the things that I like most is an internal handle, so you don't get schmutz on your hands when you try and shut the door. And of course, there's the natty exhaust pipes with that kind of throaty, deep, sexy note, which even my cameraman didn't mind, and he's really picky. He's been very difficult today, by the way, very difficult. Hard to find good help. It's designed by the same team that designed the i30, and Thomas Berkler told me that they have these cars designed in such a way that's not just for the beauty. There's manufacturing considerations as well, so they try and do away with sharp edges and they try and make it as streamlined as they possibly can. But that's not the quirky bit. This is the quirky bit. This is a coupe and a 4-door, look, one there, and another one here. And contrary to what my cameraman says, this is not a hairdresser's car. Also aiding the aerodynamics, there's business under the car so that the air flows more smoothly, and this business along the bottom. This skirt is not just here for decoration. And the good thing is, because this has on the driver's side just a single door, you get in and it's a nice wide opening. The seatbelt is presented on this little armed duver, which you'll remember in those old Mercedes 500 SECs was automatic. This one's a manual affair. So just leave it like that. There's a handle down below so that you can get into the back seat if you want to. Obviously you don't have that problem on the other side. But there's another little quirk too, and I don't know quite why they did this, but the seat's only partially electric. There's a button here for backwards and forwards, and another one for lumbar support. But as far as the seat back goes, that's a lever job. You have to do it yourself. Along the side, the door's got a little bit of interesting detail here with this kind of pattern plastic. Below that, look at that, Infinity, 8-speaker audio. Up here are the buttons for auto-folding mirrors and mirror adjustment, locking of doors and windows, and look, just 3 window buttons, because there's 3 windows. The cabin is very smart with an all-new design. There's a 7-inch tablet in base model and 8-inch in top models.
The new Veloster comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. If you're enjoying this video, then don't forget to hit subscribe. Then click the bell notification icon. Would you like to reply?
There's a reversing camera, which includes rear cross traffic alert. Standard navigation, and well laid out buttons, including a button for the automatic climate control. It is only single zone. There's buttons below for USB and auxiliary inputs, as well as wireless charging for your phone. There's push button entry and start, and a 4.2-inch full-colour display. There are buttons which include blind spot monitor on-off, lane control on-off, as well as controls for heads-up display. Information on the heads-up display is duplicated on the 4.2-inch screen and includes all the warnings plus navigation directions, as long as you're using the inbuilt navigation and not the one on your phone. Front sports seats are covered in perforated leather with red stitching and red highlights. The seats are also heated and cooled. In the rear, there are 2 ISOFIX positions. Steering wheel is clearly laid out, with settings and active cruise control on the right and audio on the left. Blind spot monitor also shows up in the side mirrors. Visibility is excellent thanks to those thinner A-pillars. Out here in the country, it is lovely and the cornering is just delicious. The 7-speed DCT is usually in the right gear, though it can be a bit dim-witted in eco or the normal mode. So for that reason, I leave it in sports mode if I want to do anything fancy schmancy. But once at city speed, especially on this smooth tarmac, it is absolutely beautiful. It's incredibly smooth, thanks to the suspension, the multi-link suspension. Now that's new for this model. Previously, the old model had a torsion bar rear end, and the multi-link is not only smoother, gives better handling, but it's also lighter. This car weighs about 1,300 kilos, which is kind of heavy in old language. An old Kingswood, I think, weighed around 1,200 kilos. The cabin is beautifully laid out. Apart from the buttons that I've already showed you, the indicators are on the correct side, which I like. Leave the lights in automatic mode, and they'll also turn on the high beams above a certain speed. Also above a certain speed is the fancy pants AEB. Oh yes, this car's got the lot. At low speeds, at city speeds, the AEB will try and stop you from having an accident altogether, and it'll stand this thing on its nose. It's got radar and cameras for the AEB. The active lane control, that also only works above a certain speed. And there's other things too. Veloster is incredibly easy to drive, especially around town. The steering is rack-mounted electric power steering, so it's not quite as sharp as you get, say, in a Golf or some of the sporty Peugeots. So you can hear we're relatively well insulated against outside noise. There was a truck over there that we could barely hear. Though I personally think the sound inside isn't too bad. My cameraman thought it was a little bit noisy. I disagree with him. He's got no taste.
Says the one driving the yellow car.
That noise that you can hear is the car warning me that it thought there was somewhere close by because of the blind spot monitoring. However, there wasn't. It's a little bit over protective. But what it does do is if you happen to be parked at the curb and you're pulling out and it sees someone approaching you at high speed that may at one stage be in your blind spot, it'll also warn you. Some cars won't let you get out, won't let you open the doors if it sees that. One thing that is very good at cornering speed is the torque vectoring. That's something else that's new for this car. It subtly brakes the inside wheel so that it adds to the grip and the handling characteristics. I've not been able to get it to a point where I could feel it. I think it's amazing. This sweet little turbo engine has 150 kilowatts and 265 newton meters with an overboost feature that will boost you to 275 should you need it. Can't think why you would, but anyway, it will do that if you need it. The tyres have ferocious grip, and in really tight corners it makes you feel really safe and secure. I think this is a really neat, easy to live with sports car, and make no bones about it, it is definitely a sports car. If I was still rating these things, I'd give it a really good rating because it is so easy to drive, relatively economical, and rather unusually, this 7-speed DCT is more economical than the 6-speed manual. Here's the figures to prove it. I've put full details and specifications in the written review and a link to that in the comments below. As always, just hit, I think, there. Oh, not while I'm going around the corner. That's bad. Bad. Bad Alan. Bad Alan. There to subscribe.